Based on your experience today, you've been discussing the role of China and Asia in the maritime and shipping industry all around the world. What exactly is the effect that the Chinese market has on the shipping industry itself?
Well, the Chinese market is a very broad term. Chinese have been very important in terms of providing the requirement for transportation. But what I've witnessed the past 3 or 4 years is they've managed to cover the funding gap which occurred after the credit crunch in the beginning of the decade when banks started to pull out. Chinese were very keen to come in and support global names in shipping by providing very interesting financing packages. And Greece is not an exception. The past 2 or 3 years we've seen a significant growth in the sector. We've seen a number of deals being entered into between prominent Chinese leasing companies and prominent Greek ship owners. And people used to label this alternative finance. Now the evidence here is that it's a mainstream form of finance. What's very impressive in this conference is actually the number of people who have come from Asia, both on the service side but also on the financing side, which shows the impact that China is having in global shipping these days.
What exactly is the Greek opening to the Chinese lending when it comes to shipping industry? Is there an estimate on that?
In terms of numbers, you mean? Or?
Numbers or percentages, if you like?
Yeah, so back in 2015, Chinese leasing, for example, represented approximately 3% of global ship finance transactions on an annual basis. The latest numbers that have been given, it's between 20 to 25%, and that is just in a space of 3 years. But let's not only speak about leasing, there's also banking. We've seen a lot of Taiwanese banks being active. We've seen Chinese banks expanding their shipping portfolios, like Bank of China and China Exim, who are top in the list of banks involved in ship finance. So it's all very exciting. What needs to be said is that a lot of people are afraid in the shipping community that a lot of money is being put into the market, and that might distort the market, the supply and demand ratio. But what I've seen personally is that the Chinese are actually quite picky. They always pick the right clients, and I don't think that they are doing anything worse than what the banks did 10 years ago or 5 years ago. So all is good. It's quite promising. It's one of the few evolving and growing ship finance types, and it's very interesting.
Would you also like to comment on the 10th Annual Capital Link Forum?
Yes, the attendance is quite impressive. Number of people from all over the world at various positions, and it's an opportunity for people globally to meet up, exchange ideas, and potentially enter into transactions. I mean, it's not a secret that you see people chatting at tables. All these chats could one day transform into real deals. So it's quite positive and constructive, I think.